Good evening, all. Today's topic is about all things beauty and where toxin-free living and young living come into that picture. So I'm going to try and do an experiment today. Experiment on you, experiment on me. We'll see how we go. Which is to do my makeup with the Savvy Minerals makeup as I'm chatting to you. So this is going to test both my concentration skills and my pathetic makeup putting on skills. Anyway, so one of the many tools that Young Living has are these beautiful Savvy Mineral brushes. So if you don't know your way around all the beauty stuff, then this is certainly the easiest way to start, is get the brushes that go with the kit. The other thing is this beautiful misting spray, and it has all sorts of gorgeous oils in it. So geranium, bergamot, cedarwood, orange, lavender, even some vanilla, sage, all sorts, rose. Anyway, you can use this. You spritz it on your brush, and it smells amazing. And then you get to using your foundation powder. So the tip for somebody gave me was to tip some of the powder into the lid so that you're not taking the brush that you're rubbing on your face that may or may not have any dirt on it and then rubbing it back into your powder. So that's a separate thing. So you just pop that on and then start going bananas on all of this. So one of the things that somebody once told me, I think it was Sarah Allen, was just keep blending. If you don't know what you're doing, just keep blending it away. So I'll just talk and go from there. The nice thing about these mineral makeups is that it's something that you can just layer on and on depending on what you're needing it for. So I haven't had, the only makeup I have on at the moment is mascara, because these days I have to wear a mask at work. There's kind of no point in putting makeup on. It just rubs off onto the mask anyway, and I don't need any extra particles being rubbed into my skin and getting caught in there, because I already get a bit of a reaction from wearing the mask all day anyway. So you can see that just helps. I'm a bit warm, and frankly I'm a bit windburned from this weekend at the beach, so it settles that down a little bit. Let's see if my lighting's a bit crazy too. So anyway, so that does the basics. Smooths out your skin tone well enough, takes out any major blemishes a little bit. Now, that being said, Young Living in America has come out with the liquid foundation. So if you're accustomed to wearing liquid foundation and you like that coverage better, you can certainly look into getting some of that from America. But I like this because it's lighter. I don't really like the feeling of a heavy foundation, certainly not for the day-to-day. The other trick that you can use for the mineral foundation is that the light moisturizer, if you just put some of that light moisturizer on your hand and then the mineral foundation powder, you can blend that and create a liquid foundation with that. Go away, Matthew. Curious children who won't go to sleep. So that's the basic foundation. Now, you can use the misting spray as a setting spray afterwards as well. You can also use either the misting spray or the light moisturizer, woo, not very tight lid, as a wetting agent. And so you'll find with the eyeshadows, if you want to make them darker, adding a bit of liquid to them, that makes them darker. And if you add the liquid, then you can create a liner with it as well. So if you like a liquid eyeliner, then you can go from there. This is laughable, but almost every time I do this, I have to look at which brush is for what, because I don't really know what I'm doing. This one is the bronzer. Now, most of the time, I would say I can't be bothered with too much more than just a bit of foundation and go from that. But for the purposes of this, we'll do that too. So if you have been taught about bronzers, apparently the way to go is an E shape. So you kind of go under your jawline to create that shadow. Jawline here, and then cheekbone there, and then up this way. Now, if you're a bit of a makeup numpty like I am, then from Savvy Minerals, tips and tricks. Follow the pictures because they're pretty straightforward, and then it helps you feel like you have an idea of what you're doing. And so the picture says up here, down here, and either side of your nose, and then as before, you just kind of blend it in and go from there. And I haven't done what I normally do, which is get a little bit of my oil. This one is Peace and Calming, and put it on to make me peaceful and calm as I talk to this computer. So that's the bronzer, little kind of, you can see that shadowing effect. And obviously if I were going out on the town, I might try and do that a little bit more thoroughly. Then the next one is blush. Now the one thing that I would say that I was a bit iffy with, seriously Matthew, go away. Thank you, good night. Is that these minerals are a little more sparkly than I would normally go for. Now, if you don't like sparkly, that's okay, because there is also this matte, what do they call it? Veil, matte veil. So you put that on the top over the whole thing, and then it kind of reduces the sparkle nature of it. So with the blush, you're just like doing the apples of your cheeks. Probably should have done a before picture. Anyway, there. Now, one of the other tips that they give is that when you're doing contouring, if you have a clue about that sort of thing, is you get a couple of different colors of the foundation, and they talk about, I think it's this one, that in these spots, your forehead and kind of here idea, that you're using a slightly lighter shade, and then that gives the contrasting. So I'll leave that to you to figure out. Good luck to you. So initially I have to admit that I was intimidated by the idea of mineral makeup. I had always had all the ones in the little cakes and stuff. But I'd say easily within the first week of doing it, using the mineral makeup, it was super easy. So another thing that I do regularly is try and much, go into my eyebrows a little bit, because being slightly blonde, oh, this is a bit tricky in the camera. Anyway, being slightly blonde, I have, doesn't really show up on this camera anyway, that my eyebrows are lighter. And so certainly if you're doing any photos or anything like that, you just want to fill in your eyebrows. And you can see how comparatively that one just shapes it a little bit better. And you can do the same. And I would use just the tiniest a bit. So this one is, I'm going to dump it out if I look too closely, multitasker. So it's called a multitasker because not only can you use it for your brows, but if you were going to use this like little tiny bit of a brush, you can do your liner. And that's why with your, thanks Kate, with your moisturizer, then you can make that a liquid liner if you want to. So eyebrows, sort of. The other thing that I do with my eyebrows is I use a clear, I used to use a clear eyebrow thing because my eyebrows would go all over the place and not stay put. But as a natural alternative to that, then you can just use an aloe or something like that, and then it just keeps all of those in place. So that's that. With the Young Living, I wonder which one of these is open. I don't use eyeshadow very often because I'm not much of a makeup person. But with the eyeshadow, Young Living now has some of those matte little powder things, like the little cases with them, as opposed to using the loose powder. So if you're not keen on loose powder, anything like that, then you can just get the pre-mixed little kits of shadow now, which are really nice. I got these before those little, what are they called? Tamara, Kate, do you know? They have a name, those little kit things. Anyway, because I don't wear eyeshadow very often, I can't be bothered to buy those to show you. Because generally, I only buy what I need. So that's just very light eyeshadow again. And again, if you wanted to make a little bit more of a statement, then you certainly have the nice highlighting ones that you would do under your brows and all of that sort of fanciness, if you can be bothered with that, which for the moment, purposes of demonstration, I'm not going to. But they have a concealer brush in the kit. They have a blending brush, presumably if you're using a couple of different colors for your eyeshadow, you can blend the borders of it. Again, I have to admit, I'm not so savvy with the savvy. I'm not, oh God, that was terrible. But there's the mascara, and again, like any mascara, you add layers to it, and I can't really do this in the phone. Oh, good. Wipe it on my nose. Certainly, if you get other makeup on yourself, then a little bit of an oil takes that right off, and then you can just fix it up. Now, in the Christmas catalog, there is a lip and lash combo with the beautiful little makeup carrier. And this color, I gotta say, looked not that great to me because it looked a bit orange, but I guess mixing it with my natural lip color turns out kind of nice, I think. So Young Living has both these lip, I don't know if they're called lip glosses, lip tints, whatever, the ones with the little wandy things. And that one's a really nice pale color. But they also have your regular lipstick sort of thing. So now that I've done that, we'll go back to the beginning a little bit and talk about why you should bother with switching to Young Living makeup, or at least having a look at the makeup that you do use and the beauty care products that you do use because of what's in them. So there are a couple of resources that I think are worth checking out. One of this I don't have yet. This is on my wish list, which is this book by Peter Dingle, who is a professor of environmental science, I believe. So he's not a doctor, but he's done a lot of research into toxic chemicals and that sort of thing. And he's written this book called Dangerous Beauty, The Truth About Cosmetics and Personal Care Products. So there's a lot of information in that one that's worth looking at. The other book that I'm slowly working my way through is Low Tox Life. So if you haven't yet heard of Alex Stewart, she's a really great person to follow if you're really interested in low tox living and what to do in your household. She has a podcast that I think is also called Low Tox Life. And within this book, there are chapters on just your general introduction, then the low tox body, so personal care and makeup and all that we're talking about tonight, low tox home, low tox food, low tox mind. And so she's an Australian woman, and she's a really great resource for all things low tox, really interesting podcast. So when you're driving anywhere, she'd be one to follow. Now, one of the things, or rather not one of the things, one of the aspects of makeup that you should be looking to, as with anything else, is the ingredients. So what's in them? And so the flip side to that is what's not in them. And so with the Young Living Savvy line, what you're not going to find is talc, bismuth, parabens, phthalates. How do you say that? Phthalates? It's PHTHALATES, phthalates, I think. Anyway, nanoparticles, you're not having no synthetic fragrances, colorants, or synthetic fillers. And that's important for many reasons. Going back to this book that we looked at last week, A Doctor's Guide to Essential Rewards, had a quote here that I was going to read you. Okay, so a group called Environmental Defense tested 49 different makeup items, including foundations, concealers, powders, blah, 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 a bunch of them. Anyway, their testing revealed serious heavy metal contamination in virtually all the products. 100% contained nickel, 96 contained lead, 90% contained beryllium, 61 thallium, 51 cadmium, and 20% contained arsenic. And if we go back to that idea of bioaccumulation that I've talked about before, and that it's one thing if you're only exposed to these chemicals once and then your body filters them all out. But for those of us that wear some makeup and use body care products every day, we're exposing our systems to these things every day, and we get some accumulation over time. And so your fragrance, we talked about fragrance the other day as well, in that it's a catch-all term, and it can be a catch-all term to allow companies to hide trade secrets in there and it's just it's a non-disclosed mixture of chemicals, and it can include allergens and reproductive toxins. And so you want to be able to identify all the ingredients within your products. And no, you don't actually have to understand every single term, but if you look them up and look up in ewdg.org, you should be confident that there's nothing in there that is of questionable quality. I certainly don't understand every single word on the back of some of these things, but it's like the actual genus and species for, say, peppermint. I'd probably recognize that one. But for some of the other ones, you don't necessarily know them, but when you look them up, you should be really comfortable what's in there. So this one, again, is another useful book to look at. So speaking of facial care, pre-makeup, obviously you want to be able to wash and cleanse your face, and Young Living has a number of options for that. I don't currently have the foaming cleanser, which is beautiful, but the one that I use all the time is this orange blossom one, and it's perfect because you get this little pump and you do like 3 pumps and it spreads really, really nicely all over your face. This one is great for teenagers as well as those of us who are no longer teenagers. But I use that every morning in the shower. Now, of an evening, I got this one, the Luminous Cleansing Oil. I got this free once with one of my orders, and it's not something that I would have gone to use myself, but it's actually really, really nice, especially of an evening when you feel like your face is a little bit dry or something like that. It's good at removing makeup. And again, it was something that I didn't really get, that you're rubbing oil on your face to remove oil. I'm sure there's great chemical logic to that, but I wasn't on board, but I'm on board now. I like that one. So this one has lasted forever. I've probably had this bottle for 2 years. I used maybe 3 or 4 pumps, but it just lasts forever. The other cleanser that I totally recommend is this gorgeous mint satin facial scrub, which kind of ties into the idea of the Young Living mineral sunscreen. So when you're looking at sunscreens, you want to avoid the chemical sunscreens, obviously, which leads you to the zinc-based or barrier-type sunscreens. This one, I find, is the only one that I've had that actually rubs into your face so you don't look like a white ghost. Now, that one comes in a little bottle, and I use sparingly just for my face, and the rest of me can turn white with the other stuff. That being said, the sunscreen that I posted, the Think Baby one, is really quite good. It blends pretty well. But with any of the sunscreens, the barrier type sunscreens, they tend to have that film, which is the barrier. And when I come back from the beach, I really love using that satin facial scrub to feel like I get all of the sunscreen off. And so most of the time, I think this one is mild enough that you can use it every day if you wanted to, but I would probably only use that once or twice a week, and probably a little bit more frequently in the summertime when I'm taking off that mineral sunscreen. The mineral sunscreen is one that I have had other people try, and the people who say that they react to every other sunscreen tend not to react to the Young Living sunscreen. So the ingredients that are added to the other sunscreen, I need to stop waving this around, are not present in this one. formulated without the avobenzone, oxybenzone, retinol palmitates, all those things that we don't want aren't in it. It's beautiful, and I would highly recommend that sunscreen. So I got off on the sunscreen, but the ones that I have in my house right now, satin facial scrub that I use once or twice a week, the orange blossom that I would use pretty much every day in my shower, and then the cleansing oil that I pretty much use every evening to take off my makeup. That I follow with the toner. Toner is supposed to bring your skin back to a neutral pH. And so for this one, I use these little reusable makeup pads, put a little dab on that and wipe it all over my face. And it really feels like, you know how sometimes when you wash your face, when you're getting all of that off, you almost feel like a little dryness almost. Then I find that when I put the toner, it just feels like it goes back to level playing field. So I would highly recommend these little pads, so you don't have to use the ones that you throw out. I have a little laundry bag that it came in with a whole bunch of these, and I wipe that on and throw it in the laundry basket, and they just go into the wash with everything else. I used to use them for makeup removal as well. So some of them have a little bit of mark on them. I find that I just wash my face now with this stuff and all the makeup comes off, so you don't have to be bothered with it. Now, with my face having some reaction recently with the masks, I have gone to some straight oils on my face. My favorite is the tea tree, and I found the lavender really calming after the tea tree. The tea tree makes it a little bit red, but you don't need a carrier oil unless you have sensitive skin with the tea tree, and it's certainly recommended as in the wellness oils range, which yes has the exact same stuff in it as this bottle, but it's recommended. The wellness oil has been traditionally used in aromatherapy for acne. And so I've been using the tea tree with the lavender and occasionally switching out with the copaiba instead of the lavender. And when I get around to it, I make up my own little serum with tea tree, lavender, copaiba, and frankincense. And then the carrier oil I use is the rosehip oil. That's supposed to be really good for your skin. But at the moment, I'm just dropping this stuff straight on my hands and chucking it straight on my face because it's fast and simple, and it has done the job, I tell you. I'm so much happier in the past few weeks when I've been doing that, with my face being a whole lot calmer than it was. Another little treat that you can do with Young Living is the beauty mask. You can just hydrating, nourishing, all of that sort of stuff. This is really lovely. It comes in like a little kind of papery sheet, and then you just put it on your face. You leave it on there for, I think it's 20 minutes. Leave it 20 minutes on your face, and then you take it off and you're feeling refreshed and more beautiful than before. The other thing that I've yet to try that is new from Young Living is the Bloom line. And it's a new line that just came out last month, 2 months ago now, I think. And it's a brightening line, so you can get the cleanser and the brightening essence and the brightening lotion. So it has the I don't know how to say it, sheer lume, you've heard of that term anyway, brightening complex, as well as 10 essential oils within that, and it's designed to brighten and balance skin tone and give you a radiant, glowing skin. So I look forward to trying that. But I'm just waiting for my, at least one of these to run out. I think I'm getting close with this one. So as soon as this one runs out, I'll be trying the Bloom line. But I find with my Young Living orders that I have to contain myself. That often there'll be maybe 1 month in 6 that I am not wanting to buy a bunch of things, and so most of the time I just have to say, okay, well, I'll buy this month and I'll buy that next month, and I just use my points to get some free stuff as I can, which often do. The other little goodies that I love are the Young Living lip balms. They are so smooth, so soft. They're just absolutely gorgeous. And after this weekend being at the beach and having a bit of windburn on my lips because I wasn't using this at the beach, it has really helped them feel really good quite quickly afterwards. Beautiful Rachel, Addison's husband, Xavier, happy birthday Xavier, has made her a couple of these little cardy things with the various colors of foundation. So if you're interested in trying them, there is a quiz that you can do on, I think it's on the Young Living website, that gives you a good idea of which foundation color will best suit you. I certainly kind of waver between a couple depending on the season. Obviously, the more tanned I am in the summertime, and then when I'm a bit paler in the winter. But if you're local to me and you want to check that out and do your little testing of which one disappears on your skin, and for me, I could do a few different kinds. So it looks like mostly cool too, but also warm too. So if you want to play with that, you're more than welcome to come over on a Monday night when I'm here, or on, frankly, any other time that you want to arrange it. We can have a chat about what is what's the best foundation for you. So I think that is most of it. Oh, the other really beautiful one, I got this with points because it's a little bit luxurious, but it's the Sandalwood Moisturizing Cream. This is definitely one midwinter when your face is really dry. It's a thicker cream, and so I like to use that anytime I'm feeling a little bit dry. But I use that also, my legs tend to get fairly dry, so that is a really great moisturizer if I haven't been having enough water. That one is amazing. And this lavender hand and body lotion, again, these things, they just seem to last forever. I bought this, I don't think ages ago. Now I don't moisturize, I don't lotion up every single day or anything like that, but you use the tiniest little amount and it spreads over your whole leg. So it just really, really lasts. And I would recommend that one. That smells really nice. I got the Genius lotion a while ago, but I ended up giving it to my mom when my parents were visiting because it was a little bit more floral than I like usually. And mom liked it, so I gave it to her. But I really love the lavender one. I'm just looking around to see if I missed anything. Oh, primer. Skipped that part. Oops. Anyway, certainly if you're going for a night out and you just want to perfect the base upon which you're putting your makeup, then the primers are great for that. So that the makeup really just sits on top and just doesn't settle into any fine lines. Not like anyone around here has any of those, but just in case they are sneaking in on you, like me, then the mattifying primer is really, really nice. And again, comes in a tiny thing because it will last forever. Especially if you're like me and don't use it that often. So, we've gone through the different cleansers. We've talked about the toners. We've talked about the sunscreen. We've talked about the various foundations and blush and bronzer and all that sort of stuff. Now, there's a whole line, and in the latest catalog, you can see them. You can go onto youngliving.com and see them. But I think, if nothing else, I would love for you to take a look at the ingredients in the makeup that you're using if you're not already using a makeup line that you're happy as being a non-toxic version. So have a look at what's in your bathroom cupboard, your makeup cabinet, and have a look at the ingredients on ewg.org or the Think Dirty Shop Clean app. They have a number of products that you can look up the product and see where it's rated. But certainly if the product isn't there, then you can look up the individual ingredients. You can totally just Google them too. And I would recommend that you have a look at some of the research into the essential oils as well, and their benefits, because there certainly is more and more research out there, and the power of the oils are being understood more and more, which is fantastic. And the other thing is, certainly if you live locally and you want to avail yourself of my library, you're more than welcome to have a borrow of any of the books that I currently have. This, I introduced you last week, oh, that's not it, to another book in this series, which is The Chemical-Free Home by a woman named Melissa Pepping. There she is there. I think it's Pepping, P-O-E-P-P-I-N-G, Pepping. And in this one, it's dedicated to the face and body. And one of the key features of these books is if you are a DIY fan, so do it yourself in terms of creating the moisturizers and skin serums, and if you want to spike your shampoo with something good for, say, increasing the volume or dry hair or whatever, you can certainly follow in here as to why, as to the recipes for some of those, including some beautiful homemade perfume recipes. So we keep talking about fragrance and all the dodgy ingredients that are in the unknown category of fragrance, and certainly perfumes are very much in that category. So we can make our own perfumes. I love the white angelica oil, and so I just use that straight as a perfume. Certainly the Stress Away is gorgeous as well. But it means that you're not going to be using that catch-all dumping ground of fragrance on yourself or on your kids. And in the middle of each book, she talks about the various chemicals and why we want to be avoiding them. But that one's great. I would say my top two, if you're going to pick anything, are The Low Tox Life by Alex Stewart and The Doctor's Guide to Essential Rewards. I will let you know about that book by Professor Peter Dingle once I get it, but he was an associate professor at a university in Perth, and Alex Stewart is Australian as well. I'm sure there in America there's a wealth of resources, and in Canada as well. So not to forget the men, there are a number of products in Young Living that you can spoil your other half with, And some of them are as simple as the shave cream. There's a 3-in-1 men's wash. There's an aftershave lotion. There's a beard oil that is really beautiful, and just the Shoetron essential oil itself as a cologne if they like it. This, in Dr. Ollie's book, he has a recipe for healthy and gorgeous hair. Apparently, results in a study comparing a placebo to a group of carrier oils shows that the application of 4 essential oils resulted in significantly better hair growth compared to the placebo solution, which was 44% compared to 15%. And then the oils were, of course, used as safe, and they had no side effects. So gentlemen can avail themselves of all the health benefits as well. And so in this chapter was spoil yourself for men and ladies. So that's very worth looking into. So I hope that was interesting. I am loath to sit here and read from all these books and give you all sorts of facts, but if you have any questions about specific ingredients, then I'm happy to look up in my resources for you, or point you at least in the right direction of where you can do some of that research yourself. Good old internet is really, really helpful. If you're interested in getting your hands on some of the Savvy minerals or any of the facial care products or lotions or anything like that, certainly let me know, and I'm more than happy to connect you with that. I think for ourselves it's really important, and for any of us that have daughters that are interested in using any of this products, certainly not everyone is going to be interested, but if anybody is interested in starting their daughters with makeup that is not going to be toxic for them, you want to start them off on the right foot, then I would highly recommend Young Living and Savvy Mineral makeup for that, and all the beautiful just lost my words. Facial care, so facial wash and all of that sort of stuff from Young Living. So just send me a message if you're interested in connecting to those products, or if you have any other questions about Young Living, any questions about toxin-free living. So those books: Doctor's Guide, Low Tox Life, Dangerous Beauty, and the Chemical-Free Home Face and Body Wash. So I think you don't have to take my word for it. You can certainly do the research for yourself, but having a look at the Bloom line, having a look at the Orange Blossom facial wash, and all of the Savvy minerals would be what I would recommend. So I hope you're having a lovely evening, and now that I've put all this makeup on my face at 9 o'clock at night, I will probably go and wash it off. Take care. Bye.